All right, welcome to 3 MFAers On. My name is Brandon McPherson. I'm from Toronto, and I have a master's degree from the Actors Studio Drama School. I'm an actor who is currently on Corona lockdown, like everybody else. Josh?
Yeah. Hey, Josh Dur here. Joshua, Josh, whichever you prefer. Director, actor, mover, video game extraordinaire, video gamer extraordinaire. I always do that. I don't know why. Here with my buddies. Went to the same school as Brandon here. Yeah, Corona lockdown is real. Caleb.
Caleb John Cushing. I'm an actor, writer, and filmmaker. I also went to the Actors Studio, and I'm also on Corona lockdown. And I wish that I was a video game extraordinaire, but I'm not.
That's
okay.
You're the only person I know who's caught every Pokemon in Pokemon Sword and Shield and has the shiny charm. So that's a lie, what you're saying.
Wow, Caleb.
I don't appreciate it.
I'm good at like one specific type of video game. Like I'm good at RPGs, but
That's a big genre, bro. That's a big genre of video games right there.
No, for sure. But you put me in front of in like a shooter, and I'm hopeless. Like
Right. No, totally. I literally took last week and I beat Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix on Proud, beating all the secret bosses, including Sephiroth, synthesizing everything. Because I'm just good. I'm just good at Kingdom Hearts 1. Like that was my first video game that I ever got when I was 12, and I can just throw it onto on Proud and just beat it in 40 hours. Like I'm just like, do I want to go through it all? No, I just wanted to play the nostalgic Kingdom Hearts 1.
I'm so different with video games than you guys are. I'm just jumping on NHL, NBA, UFC, and just playing people online all the time. It's such a different thing going on.
Yeah, I can never do that. I always lose.
Yeah, I feel like sports games are sort of function similarly to fighter games in that way, and I'm bad at that.
Yeah,
too.
I'm not very much so.
That's not my world. I need a turn-based combat. I need to take my time. I gotta think about it. I need some anime boys with big swords and magic.
Spiky hair.
Yeah. I mean, and it's it's like playing like a Dragon Ball Z fighter or a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. I don't know shit. I cannot keep up with the combos. I don't know anything. And you play online and you don't get to do anything. You just get beat up for 4 minutes until your guy dies.
You just get walked by some fucking 12-year-old Korean kid.
You're like, you just hit me 180 times and I've been able to press a button. This game sucks.
No, it's foul. That's why, Brandon, I liked it when we were playing the Dragon Ball Z stuff because we both suck, so it's way fun.
Yeah, but that was the only time. That was the only time I got to play it because I tried to play it online. And I was like, well, this isn't fun. I can't even press a button. You just comboing my face off.
Yeah, no, it's atrocious.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's a big issue, but people are so goddamn good at those games. Same with Overwatch.
Yeah.
That's why I can't play that. Everybody's too good.
Oh, my roommate loves Overwatch. He's like, Josh, I think you'd like it. I was like, no, I won't. I'm the kind of guy that likes to sit in by himself and play Skyrim. You know what I mean? I can do some classic, just by myself, doing my own shit. Don't put people against me because there's always going to be somebody who's better than you, and I hate that. It just pisses me off.
It's also with Overwatch and specifically that genre of game. If you're coming to it late, there's no way. People have been mastering this shit for years at this point. There's no way a beginner can just hop on and hope to.
It's also it's not at this point in the world, it's not oh cool, a beginner's gonna jump on, hope to beat. It's oh, you're gonna jump on, you're playing against somebody who's being paid millions of dollars to play this game.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, dude, kids make millions of dollars playing these video games now.
Oh,
Sports,
tournaments
baby.
And shit? Yeah.
Esports. It's oh no, you can get on a team, you can get signed to a contract. It's a real thing.
Totally.
Straight up. Twitch obviously is a massive thing too.
Yeah.
Friggin' Twitch streaming like a badass.
I'd love
That's
to
funny.
just
Somebody streams Pokemon Go on
That's
Facebook.
what I was saying, dude.
And I'm just why am I watching you play Pokemon Go? I don't.
Yet you are watching them because there's something interesting about it.
For 5 seconds, Brandon. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Yeah, I don't know about Pokemon Go, but
38
hours. I'm not
38 hours later, Josh is still stuck in this stream.
Yeah.
just
Now, the
following
next
this
game
dude's life.
Next game I want to tackle is Horizon Zero Dawn. I think it's called.
Sure. You gotta play
I've heard it's a
Final
great game.
Fantasy
I played
VII,
it a
bro.
little.
I won't. Is it
Dude,
Zero
I'm
Dawn
waiting
Horizon?
for Ryan's playing it.
Have you been like following him play it or no?
I mean, yeah, like he's kind of, but because I haven't played the original, like I'm not really sure where he's at. Like it's a beautiful game. Like I love. It's not Yuffie, Tifa.
Tifa and Yuffie are both great, and so is Aerith, the original waifus.
Are they both? Is Yuffie and Tifa both in Final Fantasy VII? Because
Yeah.
I'm also like I'm coming off the Kingdom Hearts play, so like
Sure.
things like Leon and Sid and things like that. I'm like I have to figure out what game they're all in.
Well, so Final
know?
Fantasy VII is like the most popular one for sure,
Right.
And that's
And
like where
also-
most of the characters in Kingdom Hearts come from. There's like a couple from like 8, but like
And
it's
10.
mostly 7. And like I mean 10, I hate Final Fantasy 10 so much.
Right.
That's like
it's funny,
considered the worst one.
That's the only one I tried playing, to be honest.
That's why, you probably have a bad taste in your mouth because it's fucking terrible.
It was all, like it wasn't fun. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. But I did.
No.
I was watching this video last night about why people consider 7 like the original 7 the best, and it was just because like the graphics of the time, the storytelling, the characters, like everyone just kind of fell in love with it. So I'm like, okay, I can. When Ryan's playing on the PlayStation, maybe I'll hop onto his Switch and play the original.
That's what I'm
7.
saying. It's like I got it for like $15 on the Switch, and it's totally worth it.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
He's been playing it too, but.
Madden's pretty cool too. You can throw footballs and stuff.
I'm just saying because like there's no lie, one of my favorite, like I remember as like a child, like growing up, like one of like the biggest like dramatic moments like in Final Fantasy VII like really like hit me. There's like a moment that like cut to my core, and I was like, oh, this is like what you can do with storytelling, and it's like really fucking great. I don't know, I have a big soft spot for that game.
Why am I imagining you having like an Abed moment where you're just staring at the screen being like, ah! Just freaking out.
I mean, it was like really, I don't know, if you know, I don't want to spoil it if you guys are going to check it out, but I mean, it was a big deal. It made a lot of waves in the early days of like story-driven
Really?
video games. Oh yeah, no, it was like a huge moment. And like
I'll play it, so don't. I'll keep you guys posted on how I'm playing with it.
I mean,
Yeah.
now we're all in our late
Please
20s,
do.
so it's
That
probably
sounds
not going to
pretty
hit the same. But like, I was like fucking 10 or whatever.
Speaking of nerd stuff, unfortunately, but as we should have assumed, San Diego Comic-Con has been officially shut down.
Yeah,
Oh.
I feel
which
like
is
there's going to be
July
a lot of things.
23rd to 26th. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't
something's
think
down from
anything's...
ways from now.
I don't think
Like E3 got canceled too and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So like
you
we're
can't
not
do
gonna
anything like this year.
no. Well, but they
You
can still
can't-
release the information. So I'm still waiting
sure.
for them to release like the trailers and stuff. Like they're remaking Resident Evil 4, which is going to be awesome.
I don't know, I'm watching like footage from the Resident Evil 3 remake. It looks okay.
Yeah, I think it's just like a couple graphics, to be honest.
It
Let's
looks
make
great.
it look real as
sure.
shit and scary as fuck. Like, come on.
I don't know. There's like I think there's like a charm to the older stuff. Like it's not like supposed to be like scary. It's like fucking like actiony. Like I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like with all like the updated graphics and having it look so like all, it's like I don't know. It's like I like the charm of like the bad blood splatter and like the bad gore. Like
Right.
that's what made it fun,
Well, there's a video of like what hopefully they get right with the remake. Which there's always going to be something that they don't do that the fans want. You know what I mean? But like with Resident Evil 4 specifically, because that was the first Resident Evil, again, one of the first games that I played through that I actually really enjoyed and replayed it afterwards. Because there is a fun, like, I don't know if you guys have played Resident Evil 4 on the PS2 or like the original.
Mm-mm.
Of course.
For the PlayStation 2/3 or whatever. I think it was 2 when it first came out. That you can, once you get through it all, then you unlock all the stuff like unlimited ammo for some guns, and like you can do all of your you can have all your weapons at the beginning. So everything it's just fun, right? Just zombie or plague killer, but there's also like a charm, right? The back and forth, the banter, the cheesy lines, hope they're all hoping that they keep that in the game. Because there was this especially with the president's daughter going, "Oh, Leon, oh," you know.
Leon's the man.
Dude, Leon, I wanted to be like, and then Resident Evil 5 came out, and then I wanted to be Chris. You know what I mean? Chris was like a badass.
Redfield.
Like,
I mean, they're all great. Like Claire and Jill and Leon and like everybody's cool. Like they're fun and they're campy, and that's why it's fun. And that's what I'm saying. Like I don't want them to remake it and have it just be this fucking like Zack Snyder edge fest, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just me. I have strong opinions about literally everything.
So I watched that new like the CGI hair clip that you shared, Caleb.
Oh, isn't that the funniest fucking thing in the world?
I mean, yeah, like it's so weird. They tried so hard.
Why? Just why? You know?
Because they're family
so
friendly.
Unnecessary.
They're family friendly, and they can't have Daryl Hannah's fucking cute little butt in Splash.
Like, what's the deal? Is she like super young or something, or what's going on?
Oh, they're just family friendly, and they don't want a butt on their like. It's like legit. That's all it is.
Well, that is crazy.
I mean, it's Disney, dude. They're sanitizing the world.
Yeah.
The House of Mouse rules all.
Yeah. You know who's not sanitizing the world? The Safdie brothers.
FD brothers, yes.
True, Safdie.
They're awesome.
I like them a lot. Are we going to jump in?
I have a lot of questions.
I'm itching to. I'm very excited. So, for the audience, we watched the movie Good Time by the Safdie brothers, starring Robert Pattinson. What are you guys' thoughts?
So I think I'm the only one who had seen it before, yes?
Yes.
So for me, I want to hear what you guys. I really want to know what you guys thought. I personally liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot, and there's lots of stuff in it that I like, lots of elements that I really enjoy. But I want to like hear what you guys think before I keep going on that.
So I'd heard lots of good things about this movie. And with him being Batman and all that, I was very excited to see it. I did love it. I loved it. It was super up my alley, and all sides of it. You know, I thought Robert Pattinson was amazing. I thought all the actors in it were amazing. Everybody in it was amazing. The directing was phenomenal. Some of the shots they had in it were just amazingly inspired. I definitely want to talk about that later. The kind of bird's eye shots they did were fucking amazing. But yeah, I loved it.
I thought it was okay. Like there's some moments that I was like, oh, interesting, but it was funny. Like I don't know if it was like the tone that the brothers were trying to create, but it did make me slightly uncomfortable throughout. But I think that's just because of the world that they were building, and like the kind of the gritty kind of the part of New York that you don't really see very often. Like especially with this brother that'll literally do anything to get his brother, out of the hospital and stuff like that. And like that was really poignant and really cool to watch. But I guess when it finally ended, I was like, okay, but what, why? So I would like to, we can dive very deep into it. And like you said, some of the elements I did enjoy, Caleb, and I look forward to getting into it with y'all. So
it's interesting because I agree with you with the ending. It's so funny though in that we just had this conversation about Legend, where Legend also just kind of ends, and then you're like, okay. So it was like, 2 movies in a row that it just kind of ends.
I would disagree that it's the same kind of like abrupt ending though. Like I definitely see like what you mean, but I feel like Legend literally kind of ended, and I was like, what?
Yeah. And then they tacked. And then in Legend, they just tacked on the narrative,
there was like the end cards, and it's like, and then they lived for a bunch of more years, and then they died. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But with Good Time, I mean, like when when Nick is like, playing that group game, I think it's very thematically important when we watch him like choose to move on certain questions, like, showing that he understands that his brother was taking advantage of him and abusing him, and I think that's really powerful. I think the ending is fitting.
I thought the way they did the credits, like I wrote in my notes, I'm so interested in Nick's situation. Like I wanted to know more. Yeah. I know it was like, it was all about Robert Pattinson's perspective and like his journey through the movie, but like Nick as a character, like I wish there was like another moment or like another like 20 minutes where like we can get like I want his story, you know?
Dude, totally.
Like,
I mean, even
yeah.
the beginning, he's so good. That opening scene, he's unbelievable.
The therapist,
and, yeah. To the point I had to look it up because I was like, who is this actor? Is he mentally deficient? And you look it up. No, it's Benny Safdie.
Yeah.
He's one of the directors.
I definitely thought this was my second watch, and I definitely appreciated him more this time. When I first saw
so
it, the
good.
voice was just too goofy to me. I was like, "Is this
really?
like offensive?" I was like, I couldn't decide how I felt. It really like rubbed me the wrong way, and I think it was because they do this thing, where a lot of their shots are extreme close up.
Yeah.
They have very few wides and like a couple mediums, but usually it's like the whole movie's in close, and that's definitely to kind of like create an anxiety-inducing experience. You're supposed to feel very claustrophobic, but you miss like certain things. Like I didn't notice that he had the hearing aid in for like a long time.
Yeah, in both ears.
In both ears, and so because they want you to focus on like his like eyes and stuff. And so once I saw,
that's the first thing that I noticed was his hearing aids.
Yeah,
interesting.
Well, for me, like once I clocked that, I was like, oh, now I understand what he's doing, and it came off as like way less goofy to me, and I appreciated his work a lot more this go around for sure.
Oh, cool.
But Robert Pattinson's definitely the star, and like I think he totally transformed. He's the best part of the movie for me.
I thought he was so good, man, and like at points where he's so creepy, like when he makes out with that girl who's like 16. If you haven't seen the movie. But even that, everything that he does from the beginning of the movie onwards, he starts off by making a terrible decision. And then from then onwards, you can understand every decision he makes because he's just trying to get back to the point of square, of everything being okay, and get his brother back. But he keeps making worse choices to get to that point, and it builds and builds and builds. Even when he makes out with that girl, he's distracting her from the news, which is him and his brother.
Yeah, like he's everything that he does has like purpose for sure, and he's very clever. That kind of something that I don't know how big of an issue.
Can I just say real quick for anybody who's listening, if you haven't noticed already, this is an episode. This is a podcast with spoilers, so. I feel like
at this point it's kind of a general understanding. Like we're going to talk about these movies, so like...
Hey, yeah, we announced what movie we're watching in the last podcast. All right?
Like 4 days ago.
They have 4 days to watch it.
So do your homework, people.
People, do your homework.
Anyway, sorry, Caleb.
I'm saying, like, I think that is a good point, Brandon, for sure. Like everything kind of builds upon itself. But for me, like when I'm watching it, I think that's something, I don't know how big of an issue it is for me personally, but I definitely feel like the movie is kind of unfocused. Like I think Robert Pattinson, you can track like his logic, but I think like there's so much, like it's not like necessarily this like slow build I want it to be. Like I feel like there's some like lapses in tension for sure. And like there's some moments that I feel like it's pretty uneven, I think is what I want to say. Like there's like a scene that's like really great, and then there'll be like stretches of time where like I'm either spending time with a character I don't think is interesting, or like not enough is happening and then too much is happening. It's like very weird pacing to me.
See, I enjoyed that.
Okay.
Just in that like it felt different than normal. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely going for something like specific, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I also like specifically the story about the guy with the bottle of acid. I was like, wait, why? While she's in like the White Castle, why is he going into this whole scene? Why do I care that? I mean, obviously, it's a build up to hey, there's a Sprite bottle full of a lot of like a shit ton of acid that we can sell to get your $10,000 for your brother out, but. At the same time, it's like, why do we have this character? Like, I don't... What? At that point, kind of, like, there wasn't any motivation for that whole scene.
And that's kind of what I mean is, like, I think the movie is, like, lots of, like, conveniences. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, he's very unlucky and everything goes wrong. But, like, the movie, I feel like every time, like, the movie would logically be like, okay, like, it has to be over now. The movie would be like, oh, but then there's this thing. And then, like, he would go do that. And he would just, like, keep on, like... It would be very convenient and it feels like kind of cheap storytelling to me in that way, like from like writing perspective. And that's kind
What,
of
like,
why.
so what? I guess
Yeah,
the
sorry.
question is like, what would you do in, like, you know what I mean? How would you write a story in a different way than that? Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, no, totally. And I've been trying to think, but like, so Brandon, you've seen After Hours, right? We talked about it.
yes, and I was a big fan, and I that 100%. I felt this was a very similar style movie to After Hours. That's what I kept.
Yeah,
thinking
they
as well.
definitely like cite it as an influence on this movie for sure.
Oh, do they? Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Like directly taking from that movie for sure. And it's funny, Ralph the Movie Maker on YouTube calls this like if After Hour was put through like a grimy washing machine. That's like what this movie is. I agree with him. But
Interesting.
But whereas like After Hours and like the Safdie brothers follow-up movie to this Uncut Gems, they like balance the tension with like a lot of humor. And I feel like that's something this movie needed more of, to me.
Interesting. Okay.
I think there are funny moments for sure, and like there are moments that have a more comedic lens. But I agree, Josh. Like the entire time, I'm so anxious, and they do such a good job of like creating that environment that like I need a break every once in a while. And I think that's what like that guy was supposed to be. Like that story is supposed to be like a funny little thing, but it's also supposed to set up the next plot of the movie. But to me, like I see the behind the scenes work happening. Like I see like the screenplay mechanics happening rather than like I'm sucked into the story.
Interesting. Yeah, because like going from, you know, like how he like the shot of his brother getting beat up in jail to the hospital scene to him trying to get his brother out of the hospital. Like I thought, like I was just like, oh god, how is this gonna go? Because he's so. I did like the tactics that they wrote the character to do, like in terms of like, you know, picking up the floor because he's also running away from the cops himself from a bank robbery, right? So breaking out his brother, he knows that he was beat up or whatever, so he just grabs the first guy that looks like he's gotten the shit beat out of him. And then the fact, my only question is like, I just didn't.
I did not see that coming.
It did take me out of it a little bit, wondering why nobody like he was able to get out so cleanly from the hospital.
That's
like,
what I'm saying when I'm saying
well, no,
like,
but
a series
here's
of
why.
conveniences.
Because
like
because there was nobody watching that dude.
No, but there's like nurses and stuff. Like,
yeah.
But I'm assuming that if you have a cop outside the door, that like that even if they do leave for a little bit to get coffee from the vending machine, like the nurses are aware of who's in each room, and like the fact that the guy, like, sir, what are you doing? Like, like why are you taking this guy out at 12 o'clock at night? You know.
You know why he might have been able to get away with it? Because he's Batman.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Well, no, I mean, the movie definitely requires you to have like a pretty high suspension.
That is actually.
I don't think that's...
But that's a fair point. I didn't think about that. Why would that cop be there outside of his room if in the explanation after he was like, I just got let out of jail. And like, didn't he get hit by a car? What happened to him?
No,
he like, dove out of a moving car.
He dove out of a car, yeah.
Right, he dove out of the moving car. So he's just fucked up. There's no reason for the cop to be outside of his place.
Remember, he's on parole.
He's on parole, but that's it.
Well, but I mean, but if I'm a parole officer or a police officer, and this like guy who is supposed to be like, you know, following a strict set of rules because he's on parole, is like unconscious,
destroyed on acid.
I'm gonna be like, all right, I better see what the fuck is going on with this guy, you know, when he wakes up. But what I think, Josh, you're alluding to, and what I agree with is like, I think like the movie kind of really tries to walk on that tightrope of like, you know, suspend your disbelief, but also be invested in this story. I don't think it always succeeds. Like after he breaks that guy out of the hospital is when I kind of lose interest to me. Like everything up to that I think is really good.
Yeah.
And I'm totally with it.
I enjoyed the whole bank robbery scenario and like them like I don't quite believe the whole like red like powder dust paint or whatever, just because I guess maybe my bank never did that, but like if somebody like robbed
your bank, they never.
Yeah, did that. How do you know?
No, but like that's like because we have to take training like every 3 months to like.
Oh, you worked at a bank. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Oh no! I have never.
Josh just outed himself as a serial bank robber on mic.
No, but
Josh just comes in like, I got a lot of thoughts.
I don't like their technique. I wouldn't have done that. No, but you know, when I worked at a bank as a teller, you know, we had marked bills. Like we had pictures of, and marked meaning we had like a group of 520s that we had pictures of, and we didn't tell anybody. We just gave them all the money, but they can track the ones that we have per our drawer or whatever. So like
Right.
the fact that they like there was some sort of mechanism. Well, unless you know what? Never mind, because the woman went into the back to get more money. I'm sure she stuffed a device.
I mean, die packs are definitely
into-
a real thing for sure. I mean, the movie definitely used holy packs and not actual bank die packs, but like, you know, to have the bigger like spray for the effect of the movie. But
Definitely okay.
that's
so that
definitely a
makes
thing
sense.
that banks do.
As I talked about, yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's a real
okay, cool.
thing.
Never mind.
But yeah,
like,
they definitely
you-
wanted
they
to
were-
use.
You
This is
always
the-
see it. You always see it in movies with like briefcases when they open it and it explodes in their face, and it's usually blue.
Oh, interesting. I just
Yeah.
found it funny because like that it was smart though that the character, like especially Robert Pattinson's character, like that he had planned for that, so they wore layers of clothes and they, you know what I mean,
Like he's very smart, but then like everything still goes wrong because like
Yeah.
that's just how it is. Like you can't plan for everything. But he's
Right.
very adaptable. He's very like quick, and I think it's like he does like, for me, not like save it necessarily, but he definitely keeps me like invested all the way through his performance for sure.
Oh yeah. It's a much different movie without him.
This is why purportedly this is why Matt Reeves cast him as the Batman.
this
Yeah,
movie. I thought the Lighthouse was the movie.
No, he was
the
definitely-
Lighthouse was recent.
Yeah, the Lighthouse came out last year. He was already like fucking like cast and filming for that shit.
Oh,
by then.
gotcha. You know, I do like his transformation, like because I mean, it's funny because Robert Pattinson kind of made me start thinking about my timbre and my voice. I don't know if he like raised his voice for the character, but if that's his natural speaking voice, like intonation, like it's interesting because usually Batman they try and make you like, oh, I'm Batman, you know what I mean? But like if he's just gonna be him, like for me, like because I'm very self conscious about how I sound. Like I always think, oh, my pitch is too high. I don't sound manly enough. You know, I go through all this diatribe. But seeing Robert
Which is
Pattinson just
true.
kind of
It's
yeah, no, thank you.
but it's
in
very
terms
interesting that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but it kind of showed me like, you know, just like fuck what people think or what you think, Josh. Like, stop judging yourself. Just be you. And because Robert Pattinson
Also,
is
yeah.
just
I think that's
Well,
true, but
character.
he's definitely doing like an accent and a specific dialect in this movie.
Also, though, for
I wasn't talking about dialect though. I was talking about just like the pitch,
The
like,
tone,
the resonators
yeah.
he was using. You know?
Well, I mean,
But-
yeah, he's definitely going higher than his voice.
it's interesting you say that though, because for Batman, for our generation, it's ingrained that Batman has a very low, like gruffy voice, but Bruce Wayne has a very gentle voice. Like think about Batman the animated series, the Kevin Connolly, voices. He was the first one to split it up and do Bruce Wayne and Batman as two different voices.
He's the
It's
best
kinda been
Batman.
that
I don't
way.
care.
Yeah, and it's been that way ever since. So I think we'll see Robert Pattinson end up doing something similar, where his
The
normal
movie,
Bruce Wayne
if the
voice
movie
is,
ever gets made, for sure.
Right.
I don't know
I
if
just
it will.
hope that he
will.
doesn't. I just hope that he doesn't do the whole like
Christian
the
Bale
the
nonsense.
Christian Bale Batman.
That
That
too
was
much.
too much.
That
You
was
didn't
too
have
much
to
for
do
sure.
I liked what they did with the Ben Affleck one, where they made it a voice modulator.
I mean, he
Like,
should
and
have. He would have the. He would have the technology for that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but like he would have that made into his cowl. But I don't. You don't fucking need it. You know what I mean? Like you're already.
I don't. I am hesitant to praise anything from those movies, but I agree. I agree that I mean I think we can all agree that Pattinson has the range for sure.
Oh, yeah.
To carry
Yeah,
him.
He definitely has the. I was thinking about it too. He definitely has the bone structure too, like his pointy nose, his jaw.
For sure.
You know, he's
He's got
gonna
those
look good in the
pronounced
cowl.
The dark features, which
Sharp,
is a very
dark
important
features, yeah.
Batman thing.
Yeah.
He is an actor who clearly does everything from a place of passion. You know what I mean? Like especially with the roles that he's taken in the last however many years, like this movie or The Lighthouse or whatever. It's all that's not surface level work. You know what I mean? That's
not at
very deep. It's very real
Kind of
work.
reminds me of like Daniel Radcliffe going from Harry Potter to like still doing Broadway, still wanting to like do
Yeah.
these other roles like that because he loves acting. Like it's very easy to be Robert Pattinson or Daniel Radcliffe or Emma Watson or like whoever to just live off that money that you made for
they
these
never have to
franchises.
work again. Yeah,
You know
like,
what I
if They
mean?
don't want to.
Like Robert Pattinson doesn't need to work again because he has this
No.
Twilight. He has this, Cedric Diggory paycheck.
But you're living in a different world if you're him. Like there's a movie that was made years and years ago, like in the midst of the Twilight shit, where there's a documentary about him, and it's one of the most upsetting things I've ever seen because it's about
the unauthorized one.
Yeah,
You've
it's
seen
about
that
the
movie,
dude.
I thought I was the only one.
And it's
Wait,
like
what
there's video footage of him on the streets of London pulling his car over, like just so upset, turning to paparazzi and being like, "Will you guys just leave me alone? It's been going on for days. You've been following me around. You drive everywhere I'm going," and like he just refuses to move. Like he's on the streets of London, just like so upset, and you feel so bad for this dude because he can only be 24, 25 at the time, maybe at the most. Like you feel so bad for him. So it's somebody who's like, especially a kid like him having gone through all of that shit and being successful, it's almost like a perfect Bruce Wayne. You kind of are the prodigal son, in a way.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you've been through shit.
Do you guys know how he got on this movie? Did you guys read about it after?
No.
I didn't know.
So the Safdies have been making like low budget indies for a while. This is like their 4th feature, I think. Good Time is,
Really?
or their 5th even. And the previous movie called Heaven Knows What, which I think is very good. But I guess like Robert Pattinson saw like their South by Southwest poster, and he loved it, and he just like emailed them. And the brothers,
I love that.
got this like obsessive email from like one of the biggest like teen heartthrobs in the world, and they were like, "Is this real? Do we answer this? I don't know. This is weird." And then and they did, and they met up, and Pattinson was like, "Dude, I don't care. Like, I'll cater for your next fucking movie. I just want to work with you guys." And so they wrote him this character. Yeah,
Wow.
and he crushed it. I mean, he's the best part of the movie for me. Like, it doesn't, not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to give a bunch of credit to Benny Safdie because that was also a phenomenal performance. But obviously, Robert Pattinson, ran the show there.
Yeah, their direction was good, and I think that like they have a very like unique, striking visual style, and I like that. Like this movie doesn't look like other films, and I appreciate like it. I definitely agree with Josh that it's too much at some points. I know that's what they were going for, so it's not like a negative, like, it's not like they like failed in their intent or anything like that.
Right.
But for my tastes, like I prefer something like Uncut Gems, which is just like slightly different in tone. It's not so extreme and close up all the time. Like they have a couple more wide and medium shots like sprinkled in there.
Some breathing room.
Yeah, and I think that helps. Like that would have helped this movie a lot.
Yeah.
Is like just like a slightly different presentation choice. Because I don't know, like I'm not like after like he breaks the guy out of the hospital. I'm like, ugh, like I'm kind of exhausted, and now we're doing this whole other thing, and like it doesn't seem to like have a clear end point. We're not building towards anything really.
Well, because you're sitting there thinking like, okay, when is he gonna get caught? You know what I mean? Like
you're waiting for that, yeah.
Where he slips up because going to the person's house, make up a story. He already got on the fucking whatever help a ride or whatever that bus system is for the handicapped and elderly.
Accessoride, yeah.
Accessoride, which is clever, like trying to get, using his brother to like, get away from the hospital and stuff. But like, and then his house that he just met, and the 16-year-old daughter roping her in because of the car, and it was so one thing after another where it's like you're building this like house of cards, right? You're like, at one point it's all gonna like, get fucked, but
yeah, that's the expression.
Get fucked.
Yeah, I think it's like fall apart is what you really
it's funny though with you saying that, because I guess I didn't have a problem with that because I knew that going into it. I already knew that it was an After Hours style movie, so I knew it was just going to be like whatever, 2 hours of just go. Like I already knew that was the style of the movie, so I didn't have a problem with that because I was ready for it. I was like, all right, this is what we're getting. Yeah.
I don't necessarily feel like that is what it is. I feel like it's go, stop for a long time. Go, stop for a long time. And that to me, like, that's what I'm saying, where it like feels uneven. I mean, that's just me. Obviously, like, if you feel differently, that's great. But to me, it feels very uneven.
It's the whole hospital scene, and then the sitting at the house waiting for whoever to call him back. I mean, like, using the person's cell phone until the guy wakes up, and it's like, oh shit, it's not my brother.
Just like insane.
I see what you
know what I mean? That like I understand, it's a movie, but I feel like I don't care how like much like shit my brother is like wrapped in. Like you found somebody the exact same height, the exact same weight. Like it's just too much of a coincidence to me. It really takes me out of it for sure.
Did you guys get like there was like I took it as like a Mice and Men reference, where Benny was talking to Nick was talking to the therapist or whatever, and like he was talking about how they were gonna like get away, get out of the city, go on buy a farm, just kind of be by themselves. So I was like, huh, interesting. You have like the kind of like the mentally handicapped, disabled brother versus the one that was kind of calling the shots. Like it read very of Mice and Men. I wasn't sure if you guys kind of got that too, or
No, I felt the same. It felt like the whole thing was inspired by Mice and Men.
Hey guys, spoiler for Of Mice and Men for everybody listening. No, I can. That didn't necessarily cross my mind, but that is for sure. Like I see that totally. That was probably like for that relationship at least. I mean that's like that archetype is in a lot of stuff too. For sure.
Totally.
It's such a good one, right? It's like
totally.
Fucking awesome.
Well, because you got the brotherly love. The guy like literally would do anything. Like he seemingly takes care of his brother. Like, okay, you did really good. Just keep walking, just keep straight. Whatever. But then he like when the cops are chasing after them, it's like then he like Robert Pattinson just takes off, right, and leaves his brother. And I just didn't really quite understand.
That was the only scene in the movie where I agree. Where I was like, I don't get this.
Yeah.
Well, I think like the character logic is like, okay, I can like get us both caught, or I can escape and then get him. Like he goes back for the money. He's like, I'm going to go to the bail bondsman and get him out of. He doesn't know that he's going to go to the hospital. Right. Like I think he's like, totally. Let me get out of here now so I can fix it later. Because if we both get caught, it's over.
Speaking of the bail bonds, what about his like girlfriend? Is his girlfriend just a friend?
Dude, that was another thing. Is like I think my actual biggest issue with the movie is if you like read up behind the scenes, like nobody had a script except for Robert Pattinson and the directors, and it really shows.
What?
Like,
oh, wow.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like they had a script that was written, and the two directors and Robert Pattinson like read it, like like you would for a movie you're about to make, and they knew it, but they kind of like the direction they gave like everybody else was to just kind of like here's your character background, like kind of do a lot of improv in character, and Pattinson would have to like react to it. And I like Jennifer Jason Leigh a lot. I think she's a really talented actress, but her work in this is just like I hate her so much. She's so annoying.
She had me on her side because I loved her in Hateful Eight. So I just rode with it. I was like, okay, cool, you're doing stuff. But that is very interesting to know that they were improving everything. That's very cool. I like that.
Okay, that's my issue with all that is that there needs to be some sort. I mean, I hope they at least gave them like checkpoints, right? Like hit this,
For sure.
this.
Well, I mean, listen.
Like, I don't know. Like, depending on how prepared you are, actors usually just go like when they're improv. If you ever see like an improv of any level, a lot of the time it just ends up being shouting and like just kind of going crazy. Like that's a very easy thing to like fall into.
Yeah, but you're not. It's not a beginner's acting class, right? It's like you got Robin Pattinson, you got what's her name there. They're pretty amazing,
Sure.
Yeah, and to be clear, like I who knows like what the final take ended up being, like what they put in the movie. I just know that was like a lot of filming, like was that kind of like. But to me, I don't know. Like I feel like there are scenes that you can definitely tell, like that was what was going on, and I think that adds to my like feeling that it kind of feels kind of uneven. Like I think that like she's definitely great, Brandon. Like I like her in a lot of other stuff. Like she was really good in Hateful Eight for sure, and like she's been working forever. She's like been in a lot of
that's what I'm saying. She's an undeniably very, very solid actress. Whether you like her work in this or not, that I agree with you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But like
that's
for this,
saying,
but for this movie, like especially when like she's on the phone and like talking to her mom, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah,
like, I just don't believe it. Necessarily. Like,
well, what is the pull for her to be like, oh yeah, I mean, we're gonna go on these trips and things like that, but here's a credit card for $10,000.
Are we forgetting that it's Robert Pattinson? I think that's supposed to be the pull.
I think
his face, I think, is supposed to be the pull.
I think we're meant to infer a lot from the fact that she's almost 20 years older than him and lives with her mom still. Like I think there's like a lot of like mental, like he takes advantage of people that are mentally like unwell. like his
Sure.
brother and this girl and like the 16-year-old. Not that she's like mentally unwell, but she's like immature, for sure. And he takes
Right.
advantage of her. He takes advantage of like the guy. He fucks his life up by breaking him out of the hospital, and then it's like now you have to do what I say, and then he fucking calls him a fucking leech on society. It's like his worldview is so warped and it's crazy, and he definitely like gets what he deserves for sure. I don't think that like he does a great job, but I don't root for him. You know what I mean? Like I don't want him to succeed because I know he's just so awful, like of a person. So
okay,
like,
but and I agree with that. But don't you want him to succeed for his brother's sake? Which I think is such an interesting point of view.
Because I think at the end of the movie they're right that he's better off without him. Like I think like he needs to just like leave his brother alone. you know.
If he breaks his brother out, or if he gets his brother out, he's just going to do something else again. He's just going to. It's a cycle that's going to keep.
For sure, and that's why I like the ending so much, is it doesn't justify those actions at all. Like that, he's like you're where you're supposed to be, he's where he's supposed to be, and then you see like kind of Benny's character Nick like just kind of like play the game, and sort of like okay, like I'm gonna actually like try to like do this stuff, and I don't know. I think the ending's great for sure.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to switch. Can we talk about this for a second? One, as I'm watching this and they're in the amusement park, I'm sitting there and I'm like, is that the...
Yeah.
Is that the I'm the Captain Now guy?
Yeah.
And then he comes in the light. I'm like, okay, good. Also, that character, they definitely murdered with acid. They gave him half a bottle
Dude,
of
did you
acid.
see how much... Yeah, I wrote that down. I was like,
dying.
Oh my fucking god,
I was
that's a lot of acid.
dying. Also because they set it up where they showed the guy putting droplets on the paper before, so it's like
exactly.
2 drops, 3 drops.
That already fucks you up, yeah.
Fucking opened the bottle into his mouth. I was like, oh, you just killed this guy on acid. His brain is dead forever. This is amazing.
I will say that I like the choice, though. When he woke up, he was talking in his native tongue. His language. He wasn't actually speaking English.
Because he didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Right. So
I
like that, because it would have been very easy to write him speaking English or, whatever, but because he was so fucked up like that, going back to his like mother tongue was like really cool. I was like, yeah.
Also talk about how like I want to be an amusement park security guard if I can live in that apartment, by the way. Like that's a fucking great
what does he do on the side
for that job? It must pay really well. I have no idea.
Funny. I did think it was really clever that they used the clothes of the security guard to kind of initially get into the apartment. So 2 things, like to mask the smell, right? So the dog recognized, it was an old dog, recognized the coat, the smell of the coat, the shirt. Also, like, who lives at the address that's on their ID? Like, I don't. I've like moved 4 times in the last 2 years.
Well,
so
we're
like,
also in our fucking late 20s. You know what I mean? Like he's probably been established for a long time. He's an older guy. But I see what you. I mean, I see. Sure. I'm not.
But it's like, look at the ID, and all of a sudden you got like, oh, let's go to his apartment. What if it
would have been kind of like funny if they had like gone to a different place and it was just like another. But I know the movie's over at that point. You have to like wrap it up at some point for sure.
But it was interesting, like the callback to him saying, Robert Pattinson's character saying he was like maybe a dog in a previous life. That he has like a connection with them, because he was able to kind of really connect with this really old pit bull. This kind of like very aggressive dog. I'm not sure the actual breed, but is an interest. I like that callback, to be honest, because I believe that I have a connection to dogs.
Okay, Josh.
So
yeah, I mean, I liked that it was a subtle moment. Like, I think there's lots of stuff about it was a subtle moment talking about race for sure. And that's not like necessarily an overarching theme of the movie, but I appreciate that they put it in there, that like it makes sense that like this guy would be able to get away with a lot, like in kind of the context of like this sort of New York they're exploring in the movie for sure.
Yeah.
Both of like, the security guard and then also the teenager both kind of get like picked up by the police, like assuming that they're doing like horrible thing, and then like this guy who's a wanted fucking like convicted felon like on the run is just able to kind of like slip out.
You know what this felt like to me in a really funny way? Did either of you guys watch Entourage?
I've seen some of it. I seen the movie actually.
Well, that's not helpful. That's
Did like
movie was
I mean,
not
I didn't
good.
like the movie at all, but I assumed the entire show was like that. Is it like way worse?
No, the
worse
show
than
was.
show?
Yeah, the show was much better. Much better.
I had a friend in college that loved it, but he also was this like preppy kid from New England area. This is back in
Hey, man.
Iowa State.
Hey man,
Iowa
relax.
State. No, but he was like, he was the kind of kid who went to college at Iowa State from being from like New Hampshire or whatever, Massachusetts, and like he wanted to go to Dartmouth. You know, he was on the lacrosse. Like he was just like a douchebag,
Yeah.
and like he would spend his mom's credit cards buying shit just to like kind of impress people. Like, but his favorite show was Entourage, and so I kind of like.
I mean, that's the stereotype. You know what I mean? The stereotype is like Entourage is for like fucking like dude bro douchebags who like
the polo
they don't
and everything.
recognize that like they're kind of being made fun of a little bit.
Right. So I watched every episode, loved it. No, but what I was going to say is it starts off with the main guy having done a movie called Queens Boulevard, and you see bits and pieces of it, right? You never see the actual stuff that they do. That's kind of the whole point. Like you see bits and pieces of the movies that he's supposed to have done.
Yeah.
But that Queens Boulevard felt like this felt like the real movie to that.
Oh, sure.
That's what it felt like. You know what I mean? Like they made up this movie for Entourage of like Vinny Chase doing this Queens Boulevard movie where he's supposed to be a badass in Queens and this whole thing. Like this movie felt like the real life version of that.
Sure.
That was the point I was getting to.
Didn't he like, wasn't he Aquaman? Or like he was trying to be Aquaman?
No, he was Aquaman. It's like season 3, and it's like, dude, had they made that movie for real at the time, it would have been the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah, of course.
Like they had James Cameron in the show, acting as himself, and he's the one who's like directing Aquaman, and like that's supposed to be the in between season 3 and 4 or 2 and 3. Is like they're off filming Aquaman, and he comes back and he's like the biggest star on the planet.
Sure. I just remember he dated Sasha Grey for a minute, which always made me laugh.
Yes, that's very late in the show, though. That is when the show starts getting a little iffy.
Starts. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, that sounds funny. I don't know. I definitely... Oh, sorry, Josh, you can go ahead.
No, I just wanted to switch gears to the score, like the music, the soundtrack to the movie.
Oh, okay. That's definitely... I love...
I made a note.
106 Point Never did it, and he's awesome.
Because it was very techno-y. It was very, like... What I actually got out of it after I thought about it, like, it's very... You know the opening, like, kind of soundtrack music to Stranger Things? It was very retro. It was very this, like... I don't know what instrument it is, but, like a synthesizer or whatever, but it's this very, like, deep... had the same kind of tonality and stuff like that. I think it was a very good score to the movie because it did kind of help with the tone and the world, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
I think the score adds a lot to the texture for sure. It's definitely like when you put the score and the visuals together, it has a very unique identity. And I appreciate like that about it a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a specific throwback to like an era of New York that has been kind of like romanticized and glamorized a lot in like modern film and television. And it's like, no. There's like real gritty, grimy shit happening every day out here. It's a real city. It's one of the most dangerous cities in America. You know?
Right. Especially now.
Especially now. Oh, dude, like it's crazy. I don't know. Well, no, in like a real way, like, I don't know. When I have to leave the house, like people are very bold now. And I don't think I live in the safest area to begin with. It's not like one of the worst ones, but there's definitely like shit happening.
It's not great.
It's not great. And like every time I leave the house, I get like people following me. It's scary now, for sure.
Really?
And
that's fucked up. That's really
for
fucked
real.
up.
And I'm lucky that like, you know, I've got quick little feet so I can get away like the Roadrunner. But it's stressful. And that's what this movie captures really well, I think, is that side of New York.
That's very upsetting. Very, very upsetting.
To be clear, I'm like totally fine.
No, I love it.
But it's...
I definitely almost got jumped outside your place like a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely, between your place and the subway.
Which subway line?
Like the Pardon?
Which subway line? Because none of them are great, but like there's definitely worse ones than
No,
others.
but like that walk from like your place to the J.
The J is pretty tough.
Yeah, it was like you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna keep my headphones on low.
Right.
You know, act a little crazy in my face.
There was
Like my eyes look crazy just in case.
there was a brief period of time in school when I had my hair bleached, and that was when I got like a lot of like people would fuck with me a lot because I had like bleached hair. Like I got called like gay slur a bunch of times, and like it was pretty annoying and terrible. But yeah, I love it. It's the Big Apple, City of Dreams. Am I right?
Well, no, like yeah, I mean it's so funny because I've been very fortunate, but I know it's where I've lived, but it's just yeah, I mean when you go down to like Elmhurst and into Queens and things like that, it's very Brooklyn. You know, it's definitely. I have a friend, actually not a friend, but you know, Ryan's mom reached out to like her cousin reached out to her because her son's wants to go to drama school in the city, and he's like. She asked if I would be interested in helping him, like, you know, give him advice about where to live. And it's like the deepest in Brooklyn I ever got was Crown Heights, like on Nostrand,
Yeah.
in Atlantic, which that was in 2000. I lived in Brooklyn from 2014 to 16.
Oh.
Yeah, for a couple of years, and before school started. And yeah, I mean, definitely. Luckily I was like a 2-minute walk from the A train, but it still was just very because it's very island heavy, and the Haitians and things like that. Like it's very not gay friendly, you know. And so
Yeah, of course.
Didn't have that trouble in Brooklyn Heights.
Yeah, Brooklyn Heights seems very different.
No, you're safe. You're safe.
Yeah, you were hanging out with fucking Jim Gordon and Paul Giamatti.
Jim Gordon, help me!
Fucking Morena Baccarin was like, you know, get out of my face, bro. But that was the worst thing that happened.
No, it definitely took like it definitely has that greasy feel to it. You know, even I'm going to the White Castle. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, the craziest part is I know exactly where the White Castle is. That's like right by this. Yeah, it was like that's right by the subway stop, right by the casino up there that I used to go to all the time.
Yeah, that's so funny that like White Castle is just such like not a thing anymore, but like in New York it is.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, that's the White Castle in Queens? Yeah, I know exactly where that is.
Yeah, totally. And that's something cool. They like actually shot like in New York on the streets with open sets. Like so like a lot of people are like real, like pedestrians and stuff. It feels very real, and I like that about it a lot.
Well, speaking of that, those shots that they had both. So first, I noticed it with the driving. They kept doing these bird's eye view shots. I don't know if it couldn't have been a helicopter, you know, but it was probably a drone. But either way, beautiful, so well done. And then they did it again from the apartment building with him running around and the other guy walking from the top.
I like that.
Yeah, I loved that. I thought that was such a phenomenal way to shoot that. It's so New York, you know. It gives you that feel of the city.
Yeah,
and I just that really grabbed me, and it was really like one of those things where I was like, I want to do this. Like, I want to shoot stuff like this, you know?
Yeah.
How did you like a Khalif?
Khalif? Who's Khalif?
He was the bald character that comes in at the end. He was like the guy's friend, the white guy who said the N-word.
Oh, is that why I recognized him?
That's his character's name, but the actor is a rapper. He's a white rapper named Necro.
That's why I recognized him. Okay. Yeah. No, he was fine. He was fine.
He seems your typical like.
Yeah.
You know.
I bought it.
Yeah. No, I mean it was jarring to me. Like it's not like it doesn't fit. Like it totally fits in the world, and that type of character exists for sure. But it was just like the only instance of that happening, and it was like really late into the film. So when he said it, I was like, oh, you know, it just kind of like made me wake, kind of jolt awake for a second. Because neither of them are like they're both like very white, so it was just very like weird. and then they're like, "Yo, we're gonna fuck this guy up," and then like Robert Pattinson has just the fucking dog, and he's like, "Yo, get the fuck out." I liked that a lot.
How about that? The whatever the decision is to like fly out the window and then just die. What is?
Oh yeah, I like that too.
because like for me, because I always think when people like shimmy on buildings and stuff, I'm like, if I was in a situation where I was trying to like really life or death like get away from the cops, would I really assess that situation in terms of like, could I do this? Do I have the finger strength? Do I have the arm strength to like grapple? Because all he had to do was get over like one more window to get to the grate or like the patio bars,
Yeah,
and he'd be fine, right? So,
but he was also drunk as fuck. As soon as they walked into the security guard's apartment, he started drinking, right?
He was drunk. He was high on painkillers. Like it was never gonna work out for sure.
Aw.
But that for me, and this is gonna sound so weird, but that grounded the movie for me at the end. I was like, this all seems very outlandish, and then I was like, okay, so he's climbing out the window, he's gonna make it over there and get away, and then when he's looking back and he just falls, I was like, oh, well, that's very real. That felt very real to me. Like that's definitely what would happen.
Yeah, the actor
I was like,
passed
oh
away
fuck.
making of the movie, like he actually died.
I was just like,
method. He was like, "Yo, Robert Pattinson thinks he's fucking method. I'm fucking method, bro." No.
Could you imagine? It's not CGI. He just jumped into a net from like 6 stories. He just went for it.
No, it's obviously very clearly CGI.
But I honestly like I really like that moment. I don't know. It made everything land for me at the end. Like on top of everything, this guy just died. Because of you.
Like,
you killed this guy pretty much.
And that look that Robert Pattinson has, like a cop car, like it's just like, what is the situation? What do you want out of this? Like,
yeah, that was definitely, I think, the moment that, because in the next scene, it's like, he confessed to everything and he's back in jail. And I think that was meant to exactly what you mean, Brandon, sort of be like, hey, like, this is all like, it's over now. Like, definitively, like, you fucked up and caused a lot of damage. Like, you have to just kind of own up and take responsibility.
Yeah, and like that's what it felt like. It's like as soon as he fell, you're like, "Oh, fuck, that's real." Okay, cool.
I guess you could say it's dramatic irony that the movie Good Time is actually kind of a bad time.
not to watch, but just for the characters in it, it's a bad time.
Yeah, it's that's my talk about dichotomy, Josh.
You guys keep using this word dichotomy, and it's awesome.
Thanks, Brandon. Is there any more? Is that all you had to say?
No, I was doing the It's Always Sunny thing. You guys keep using this word jabroni, and it's awesome.
I think he gets us, man.
He doesn't understand us.
Did you guys notice in the gratitude list and credits that Martin Scorsese was had a special thanks?
Yeah, same with McG.
So did they obviously like took from Martin Scorsese. He was like a mentor to him, I'm sure.
Oh, do you think that was because of After Hours, Caleb?
Yeah, probably.
Martin Scorsese directed the movie After Hours, Josh.
Oh, okay.
Great film that you should check out. It's very fun. I like it a lot.
You also, as a director, Josh, you should check it out. It was a movie that Scorsese made when he was not getting hired for stuff to prove that he could just direct like a movie. Like he'd already made Raging Bull and big things like blockbusters. But he wanted to show people that he could just direct like a movie, Sure. So it is like that's what it's for. It's like his own like, hey, this is me directing shit. So it's really worth a watch. After Hours. I want to say 1984, 85 it was made.
No, 84. You got it right.
84.
Bro, you got it. What? What's it on?
That was what?
I saw. I don't know. I saw it on Netflix now.
Hold on, let me look it up.
So
it might be on Netflix.
Now,
okay, sorry. I'll be quiet.
1985.
Oh, it was 1985. Damn it! I'm sorry, I lied to you, Brandon.
So close.
Yeah, I can rent it. It's on.
Yeah, it's on YouTube or Amazon or whatever. It's worth it for sure.
Yeah.
Did we have anything else we wanted to say about Good Time?
I think. Was there anything else I wanted to say about Good Time? I don't know, man. I really like the acid stuff, and I really want to see what happens more with that guy who freaks out on acid. I want to see... I'd like a separate movie where we just continue on with the I'm the captain now guy.
Oh, him, yeah.
You just watch him trip out on... Because that guy's I love that guy.
Very good.
I just want to see him tripping balls on acid.
Would you mind, please, for the podcast, trying your best to pronounce his name?
No.
But you can. Just try it.
I don't know his name. What is it? Hold on, I'm going to look it up.
Look it up and then do your best. Josh, do you want to give a crack at it? I think I know how to do it. I'll do it. You guys do it.
Sure.
I don't like this game.
I think we need to start bringing more games in. I like this game.
It's like we completely missed our. I'm not doing impressions, just so you know.
I don't do an impression, but just pronounce his name. How do you think it's pronounced?
No, for these games, though, I'm saying never ask me to do an impression.
Okay, hold on. Do you
Can I
have
go?
a name?
Ready?
Yeah,
Josh. Go.
Barkhad Abdi.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not even a tough one.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm asking.
That's so I
Barkhad Abdi?
Barkhad Abdi.
Barkhad
Yeah.
Abdi, I think. I think you hit the A instead of
Dude,
the I at
he's-
the end. I think it's Barkhad Abdi.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Man,
Caleb.
ever since Captain Phillips, he's just been running it. He's doing a bunch of
Hey,
shit.
to go from like a taxi cab driver to like being an actor and shit, that's so cool.
So legit, man.
Yeah.
So legit.
So
The
the
real
dream
hero
is
of the
still
story.
the dream is still alive for us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, he's been working nonstop since 2013.
So what I just need to do is take the story of a lonely a master's student or graduate who's living with the government, staying at home, and be an actor too.
Let's make a biopic about us starring Barkhad Abdi.
That's okay. I'm down.
He's a composite character for sure. But I think he's got the
Hey.
range, you know?
I think, yeah, I'm good. Like, no, I'm good on the movie. I don't have really any more notes or anything.
Nah, dude, I really liked it. And like After Hours, Caleb, it was a movie that inspired me. You know, it was like, one, it was super enjoyable to watch, but also it was like, I want to make something like this. It was the exact same feeling I had after Hours. You know what it is? It feels, and this is no disrespect to the people who made the movies, it feels doable in a way. You know, it's not CGI, it's not the Avengers, it's just a good script, good actors, really well shot, and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I absolutely know what you mean for sure.
Yeah.
So,
I think
there's
like
something about that really speaks
part
to
of
me.
their ethos is it's like no matter how big our budgets get, like we want everything to feel like sort of like homemade, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah, in the best way. Like, it's not like
Yeah,
it
no,
looks
it's
like
not
a
a-
random indie flick, you know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like their
it's-
earlier
it's-
stuff.
it's
did.
amazing.
No, it's
Yeah.
definitely like a compliment for sure.
But it was very inspiring, and like the way that they did stuff, it was like, oh fuck, you can do that. It was a lot of
Yeah.
that for me while watching
I
it.
mean,
So I was
I'm
like,
glad
all right,
that you
dope.
I'm glad that you liked it so much, man.
Yeah. Well, that's you know, I'm very excited for Batman now. Very excited for Batman now.
I'm excited to see Colin Farrell gain like 50 pounds.
Did you really for the Penguin?
Yeah, I don't know. I think like
Oh, that's good.
I personally think that like I don't know, I'm nervous because I like Matt Reeves. I think he's a good director and I think that they've got all of the pieces. But you know, who fucking knows? Like it could still turn out to be garbage because there hasn't been a good Batman movie since 2008. So
I feel like from what I've read that they're definitely taking a shot, which I like.
taking a risk,
You
I
know?
appreciate it.
So yeah, I like that. But yeah, it's gonna
Alright,
be good. It's
do
cool.
we want to rate? Do we want to rate
Oh,
the
Josh,
time?
you go first.
I go first. I'm gonna give it after discussion a 3.25 bottles of acid. Out of 5.
0.25.
Very specific. Very specific today. I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5 Safdie Brothers.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. I think I prefer Uncut Gems for sure, but it's definitely above average.
Dope,
Great.
dope.
Hey,
Thanks
Josh,
for watching the movie
Are you,
with me,
are you
guys.
sure you don't want to do either 3 or 3.5? It's fucking up my metric.
Yeah,
it's really,
you're right.
it's
I'll
really
do that
bothering
too.
me.
Okay, you're right. I'll do 3.08725.
Oh, fuck off.
No, I'll do a 3. Give it a 3
Give it a 3. All
on
right.
my end.
Thank you for calming me down. I was gonna have to like wash my hands 10
that's funny.
times and
Awesome. So what's next on the docket?
Okay, so
Sorry, Caleb.
it's my turn, and I'm sorry, but I have to do this. So, between when we talked about the whaling and when we're recording this, a man named Nobuhiko Oibayashi passed away, and he was a very prolific film director from Japan, and he made one of my favorite films called House. It came out in 1977. It's called House. I'll link the page to you guys. And I was like waiting to talk about this movie a little later, but I think he passed away. I want to pay homage. I think it'll be a very interesting discussion. This is, without hyperbole, the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And
great, I can't wait.
And I'm telling you guys now, like I'm warning you, so that you go in with the right expectations. It's bizarre. I don't know if you guys are gonna like it, especially at first, but please stick with it. It's really entertaining. It's one of my favorites. It's less than an hour and a half long. It's like 80 minutes long, so it's short. So you can do it in one go. I'm
in. It sounds jokes as fuck.
I think it's appropriate for our podcast. So I'm excited. House next time.
Totally. House, perfect.
Yeah. All right. Any closing whatever the fuck.
Brandon, shout out to, sorry to hear about Nova Scotia and that shooting.
Yeah, that shit was wild, dude.
Yeah, it's really not.
You know, on the
not cool
it's like you guys have a shooting. We have March was the first month in I don't know how many years that the U.S. hasn't had a school shooting.
That's the biggest shooting in Canadian history.
And that's the biggest shooting. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think it's 16 or 18 people or something.
To Nova Scotia, and you know,
especially
because it's already a hard time. So.
Same here.
It's crazy that we get really desensitized to it. I mean, it used to be there was one every fucking day.
Yeah, it's wild.
But I know it's very different up there, man. And it was definitely reading about it. It was definitely a calculated. Like he had to put a lot of effort to do what he did. And
dude, he got a fucking like OPP police uniform and a cop car.
Oh wow!
Like he bought an OPP cop car, which is like or not an OPP, but whatever. He bought a cop car out there. It's like fucked up, man. Anyways.
He definitely put a lot of effort into causing this fear.
Did they kill him?
He's dead, and I think 10 other people are dead, and a couple more are in critical condition. But I don't know. That could have changed. That could have changed for sure.
But thank you, Josh. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry to leave on such a
no
down note, but I just wanted to kind of shout out and it sucks.
Hopefully everybody out there is doing all right.
Yeah, be safe there, boys.
Be safe. Wash your hands, and we're all in this together, guys. One planet, one world, one love.
We're all in this together.
If you're able to, make sure you donate. I don't know.
Where should we donate?
I don't know.
That was in fact from High School Musical. Just throwing out there.
Dude, I'm doing the choreography right now.
Everywhere. Come on, wave your hands up in the air.
All right, that's
all right.
Bye. Bye. All right, guys.
All right, that's the MFAers on Good Time.
It was a pretty good time.